think it would be very for us to really take advantage of what's going to happen on 17th of October.
Yeah.
The 3C, it's like, I envision it like Back to the Future 3, when they're on this train and they throw the logs in and they explode. It boosted everything. Well, we're just now beginning to come into first gear, as I was sharing earlier. And we, having that boost, we should try to have every effort that we can to make sure that information is disseminated as much as possible to the entire community. I mean, we want to make this thing, this has got to be a smash thing, and it's coming up a month. It's like a month away. So it's going to really take a lot of, I guess, planning, but we can do it in 30 days. I believe that we can do it. There's no possibility. We have to do it. I mean, this is a big event, and you're talking 4,000 people. Somebody goes 4,000. I said, yeah, let's go 4,000. Right? Well, don't say 4,000 people. Who was that? She's gone. She mentioned 4,000. I said, wow, she's really out there. That's the energy. But and if we galvanize our efforts, we can accomplish a whole lot on that day. And let that be a day that we see that log exploding and just take off.
On that same note, I think it's really important that we start creating a lot of public awareness. Because I know there was being mentioned on Fresh and Easy, we actually helped promote a couple of agencies in Compton, helped promote it within the last couple of months because people didn't know that it was in our community and what it was really all about. And so we started doing market tours. Not only to introduce them to the public, to educate them about how to read a food label and what the healthier food options. So there's always an opportunity to teach the community. But I think it's going to be all of our responsibility to start to get the word out, to create that public awareness, and to bring people in all events, in every shape and every form.
I have a question I just want to ask. So you mentioned, kind of making use of CommonCreek.org and sort of new media. And I have to say, when I was trying to think about advertising this conference, and the conference was not particularly, nor was it meant to be designed to, engage a whole bunch of community members who hadn't been involved before. That wasn't exactly the venue. I was looking for people who sort of have been involved and get a little feedback about where to go from here. But we did a lot of advertising, electronically. And I was never sure how well that worked. But we're talking a lot about engaging youth. And is there any kind of electronic communication? I mean, there's all these things going on with electronic communication right now, with blogs, Facebook, Twitter, all this stuff. And unfortunately, everybody in this room who was like under 25 seems to have left. Seems to have left so far. So I don't know how good a venue that is. But I guess I was thinking, one thing that might be a really neat thing to try would be to, yes, advertise the October 17th event every way possible, but also create some kind of outlet, whether it's a blog or whatever else, for people to talk about how they felt about the October 17th event afterwards, and just kind of keep that community momentum going. And I think electronic, because it is really hard to get everybody together in one place at one time these days. Everybody's busy, everybody's schedules are different, so there's a lot of emphasis on sort of virtually doing that kind of thing. I don't know if we have the expertise in this room or who brings in that expertise right now, but just kind of a suggestion and an observation that it would be really nice to think about beyond the October 17th event. If you get 1,000 people, how do you keep that 1,000 people involved and interested?
Who's going to create the website? We have some names.
Is there anybody from the city here still?
Oh, you mean City Hall?
Okay.
Well, and that's I'm going to make that observation too, and this might not be popular, but the city was great in providing scholarships for a lot of community members to be able to attend. And the city's not here right now. So it's going to be up to you guys, I think, to go back and make sure that the city government structure here.
We didn't bring it out a whole lot, but we found out that we could go into it, that the city through the Queen and Creek Art Club, that she had founded a Friends of Compton Creek, but then, you know, and talk about the history, what's happened.
Well, Friends of Compton Creek started probably like 8 or 9 years ago, and they started the 501c3, and Miss Arsenault starting this nonprofit arm of the Compton Creek Task Force. So it was separate from the city, sort of, because Miss Arsenault was on the board. And then she pulled in a few some business community, some civic community to be on the board of the 501c3. It didn't take off because it wasn't necessarily grounded in the heart of the creek or the movement of the people. So it died. We tried really hard to resurrect it 2 years ago, but it was still very embedded in the city, and so that's why we talked about the fact that Friends of Compton Creek now has to come back as a people movement, very separate from the city, to hold the city accountable. And if the city's too embedded in Friends of Compton Creek, then there's kind of a loss of checks and balances there. So it's important that it stays separate. But I think that we certainly can take the opportunities to sort of and I'm sure Mr. Hull would be very welcome to have more people on the 17th planning committee, which I'm sure is still meeting. Does anybody know? So I think if we just start sending him some emails, and we certainly can use our next task force meeting is until the first week of October, and that's a little late. I think we need to start calling him tomorrow. Hello, Mr. Hull.
Because we said the structure, but that is already there. It's a 501c3, it's dead, but at least it's structured. People want to give to it, you know. Some people won't be able to physically help, but they can donate some money to what's going on. So that's in place already. Why not we just resurrect, try to, you know, resuscitate it one more time?
And with a 501c3, if people have standing board members, they have to send a formal, I don't want to be a board member. And maybe those people who were sort of appointed to be board, you know, Arsenault maybe said, come on, be a board member. And maybe they're not interested anymore, but there's certainly people now who are, you know, maybe more willing to be active board members that would, you know, be happy to sign on. Or we just start from scratch and we do our own 501c3.
Most of the things I've done, years ago I worked for Compton Cable back when we first started. I know the local origination station is a good outlet. Cal State Dominguez has a television station. Sal here is developing a kind of a local format. I've done a couple of programs there in Dominguez, television type programs. I would see that, you know, maybe some kind of something that could be done when you get out with your camera. You got the local origination program here, like the studio at Dominguez, and just, you know, kind of air that through the local origination stations, local cable stations, to reach a lot of people that way. Radio stations, you know, it'd be great to have some of the stations come out and do live simulcast on that day. A lot of people, you know, listen to certain radio stations. You know, almost like a complete media type of scenario. Because I think if we can, you know, get it where we are you know, people can start seeing themselves. Hey, that's my cousin. Hey, that's my brother. And that tends to get people involved. You know, if people don't see it, you know, it'd be really good, like I say, to televise that whole effort so people can see it. You know, so they can relate to it. See that, hey, my neighbor was there. You know, my cousin was there. You know, and see that I'm welcome and they want us. Because where it is now, people. I mean, I tried to twist people's arms to get them here last week. And I was literally going around with my flyers, hey, you need to be part of this, you know. And I'll be there. I had a guy last night say, oh, yeah, I'll be there. I said, come on now, you need to be there. He's a local business person. I said, you might be able to make some good contacts for your business. Come in and network. If no more, just come for lunch if you can't come over there. You know, and that's usually, you know, free food or something. But we got to really push the media piece. You know, like I think involvement is a good thing. Website's a good thing. And,
is there a press release? You guys do a press release for it?
We did, yes. We did.
Billboards, you know, those are always good. You know, getting the word out, Compton Creek on the freeway billboards, so they can get something donated to us, you know, stuff like that.